All right, so today, welcome back in. We're going to dive into Solana and give you guys an update on the analysis and where that project is going. Lots of news coming in, and of course, lots of things happening in the Solana ecosystem. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. Let's dive into it today on Solana. Really, when you look at Solana, there are a lot of scenarios that are playing out that kind of allude to the fact that Solana could flip ETH. And we'll talk a little bit more into that. Before we get started though, I want to jump in and say thank you to our sponsor today, which is Mudrex. If you have not seen and looked at what they're doing over at Mudrex, it's kind of interesting because they're essentially giving you an easier tool to be able to invest in crypto by creating somewhat like mini ETFs is the best way to explain it. So if you look at their website, this is their coin sets, what you're seeing right here. And overall, you can look at a few different variables like this, of course, is the easy one, crypto blue chip, new crypto stars. That's kind of an interesting one. Metaverse is one that I think a lot of people have a problem with, but essentially what they do is they put together your amount of money that you want to invest in a coin set. Then essentially they go out and mix that up into kind of like a mini ETF and go out and buy these. So in this particular case, you've got Axie, Engine, Sand, Earn, Illuvium, Mana, Yield Guild Games, and then Alice all in this one. And then of course it gives you active on the 24-hour, the 1 week, 1 month, etc. A little bit of performance here. You can kind of move around. But the coin sets are really an easy way for you if you are new to crypto and you're looking at going into any of these. You've got options on Binance, Binance US, you've got Coinbase Pro, and then even OKX, and then FTX, so different packages that you can go in and look at. The cool part is that it takes kind of the guesswork out of it for you. And what that means is maybe you're not sure about the metaverse projects you want to jump into or some of the gaming projects. Maybe you're not sure about the edgy layer 2 protocols, all those kind of things that maybe would help you put together more of an investment strategy by just putting money into a coin set. And they make it really easy to do that. So of course you can do this just by going to mudrex.com. It's very simple. Jump over there. Make sure and use the link below because they are giving some special considerations. By using our link, you get $25 into your account when you get things going there. So it's really easy to jump in. Very nice, and one of those that I think is worth a check if you're looking at building your portfolio in coin sets. All right, let's dive into where Solana is going. And I want to talk about this first story, which is really the one that kind of the thumbnail represents, and that is, could Solana flip Ethereum? And the concept behind this is in a new study by Bank of America shows that they actually think that this can, and that essentially it is the new Visa of crypto. That to me is probably the biggest scenario that is facing the system right now, is if Solana is considered as the new Visa of crypto. Remember, throughput to a certain extent does not have to be massive, because even the TPS of Visa is not in excess, that is something that's unattainable. But when you look at the overall capacity of what's happening within crypto, NFTs, gaming, all those kind of things, and remember, we've just scratched the surface in terms of play to earn and some of the NFT projects that are going to be out there that will flood the system and create what could be some congestion. And there's some points that we need to make on this. But in Tuesday, in a research note, Bank of America digital asset strategist basically said Ethereum competitor Solana may become the Visa of the digital asset ecosystem. And he went on to say that basically the native token, since it's grown, has become the 5th largest security or cryptocurrency out there by market cap, with 47 billion on its mark, with over 50 billion transactions and 5.7 million NFTs. So that's a pretty big scenario, because that's the order of magnitude faster than Ethereum. Obviously, we know that ETH is trying to achieve these things by making those big leaps in moving to a proof of stake. But the scenario that you do have to deal with is, will Solana be able to suck up enough market share and early adoption in an era in which timing is everything? Remember, in crypto, timing is everything. And if you think about where metaverse and NFTs have entered the market really last October was the real move for NFTs and metaverse. Sure, we saw Bored Ape and early NFTs for 2021, but we didn't see the mass movement there. And I think that's the kind of circle we're on right now, is some pretty mass movement here. Back to the story, March 2020, Solana launched, decentralized blockchain capable of hosting extremely scalable apps. That's a big one. And of course, remember, the currency got a lot of attention from investors last year, and its price rose, of course, 4,000%. And one of the big reasons was because of its speed and its transactions. Now, we have seen since that has happened over the period and course of time for Solana, a little bit of issues with congestion. And Binance kind of corroborates this whole issue with Solana's network congestion issues. And they're basically kind of positioning it in a sense of, if you sneak peek into Solana Beach, last week's problems seem to have persisted with multiple failures appearing across the transaction dashboard. So it's just showing some of the transaction failures that were occurring. Now, can this be fixed? Yes, this is one of those things that can be fixed in the short term. And I think from a standpoint of developers, the key here will be, is Solana winning the developer race? Because if they are winning some developer keys, key dev leads, things of that nature that can help with scaling Solana to a TPS level that can handle, more payments and also more transactions in all of the layers. If you think just in general e-commerce payments, that's one. Then you jump over to what's going to be happening in play to earn, and then also in NFTs. That starts to compile things, because I don't anticipate things happening in the traditional e-commerce world in that way. So Solana is predicted to eat away Ethereum's market share. Obviously, this was by Bank of America. You've also got Mike Tyson going in on Solana. Not that that's a big thing, but Tyson actually is kind of a little bit savvy in the crypto space. But I think that is more of a move, and I continue to see a lot of celebrities moving into these kind of protocols because it is feeling like it's kind of the cool thing to do. The thing that makes me more bullish on Solana is this movement right here, and that is on the Phantom wallet. Now remember, onboarding and the on-ramp scenario of getting into some of these projects and into some of the ecosystem projects that lie underneath Solana is very key. And it's very important because of the issue that you deal with things like MetaMask, Trust Wallet, etc. Just to tell you a quick story, with MetaMask, I actually had my MetaMask and caught a hacker attempting to drain the account. These are the kind of things that happen in some of these wallets. With MetaMask, if you're leaving your account plugged in, mine was plugged into a monitoring tool to monitor the transactions inside the DeFi wallet. What I would recommend, and of course, even me thinking that must be a safe tool set because it is giving me feedback and it is syncing my wallet. But if that gets hacked, then the trail right into your wallet is wide open. Now, fortunately, I did not lose a lot of money, but it was a couple of transactions that I was just by random watching the account at that time and saw it happen, and it tried to go in on a token that I knew I would not sell. So I knew immediately something was up. I was able to circumvent the hack, jumped in, and was able to secure all those. And I essentially went out, and I won't tell you exactly what I did in terms of the strategy because I don't want anybody to understand the strategy I'm using with that particular case. But the point is that I created a strategy within MetaMask that I think now is somewhat more impenetrable, and I stopped using this one site. Now, we'll give you guys a heads up on that just in case you are using it. Let me jump to it, and I'm going to call it, I'm not going to show the site, but it's called Crypto Portfolio Tracker, CoinStats. So if you go to CoinStats, do not use, this is just a warning to you guys, do not use that with your MetaMask account. Back to the point of Phantom, because this is the reason that Solana could secure this, because MetaMask has a little bit of a lure to it that is still hackable. There are some issues, and now granted, there are some achievements that MetaMask is trying to do, but with the Phantom wallet, they're launching their mobile version, so bringing that into smartphones, that's going to be a big thing because that's a big aspect of MetaMask that is a big part of this. Granted, MetaMask being a completely different ecosystem, but the point being is that with mobile, and I think with what's happening with Solana, you're going to see a lot of adoption. And remember, making it easy and making it safe is very, very key. And of course, they even jumped out here on their own Twitter with Phantom, spotted Phantom iOS app in the wild coming January 2022. You can kind of see what's happening right there, which I think this is a very key aspect to any crypto investing, because if you're like me and you're looking at projects and coins that aren't typically traded on some of these exchanges, you need ways to access to those types of projects. Maybe you're using DEXs, swaps, etc. You're going to need those kinds of wallets to do that. If you're staying out there in these big ecosystems like Solana, which I would suggest that if you're new to crypto, make sure and do something like that. Remember, these are market movers. Concept on these is to give you guys data, lots of research, give you some data points from our CPI, which is our own proprietary index of crypto projects, but not investment advice. Really, the goal is get you guys going on the right direction with the right kind of research and education to get you moving. So I'm really intrigued that this can happen. The other thing that is cool here is look at the Phantom uptake in terms of users. This is big because this has been an incredible year for Phantom Solana ecosystem. This was back here, 9 months, they've grown to 1.8 million monthly active users. If they continue on this kind of scale of growth, I mean, this is pretty significant. This could be a monster. If you think about how Solana could take over in terms of the high transaction, if they don't get the congestion issues resolved, all this is for naught. But if they resolve those congestion issues, scalability, the ecosystem, and now a wallet that's able to plug into all this, very interesting things could start to happen. And I think we will continue to see Solana moving in the right direction. Just to kind of confirm, crypto whales wallets movements show a drop in both Bitcoin and, here's the one, Ethereum. And this is my theory, is that Ethereum is getting a little bit of its thunder stolen by some of these projects, that, especially in these kinds of layer one projects that are actually doing some pretty good work, and Solana being one of them, AVAX being another, etc. Then you go into projects like Polygon, which is also chipping away at kind of the whole idea of transactions, even though we are seeing fees on Polygon. We're going to talk about Polygon too very soon in a video coming up, but fees are definitely going to become an issue over there. This was kind of interesting too. This was a tweet that Vitalik put out, and I hit it. I went ahead and did the poll. And I feel like this, and we kind of talked about this in the crypto pit, is that I feel like this is probably more of the ETH maxis that are taking this. So if you're following Vitalik, you're on Twitter, most likely you are in ETH pretty deep. But on this poll, Solana was number 3 behind Bitcoin and ADA, which I thought was very interesting. So you wake up in 2035, 80% of all transactions in saving the world are on one currency that's not ETH. This one surprised me, 584,000 votes, 3 hours left to go at time of filming here today. So this is an interesting aspect, and I continue to see the scenario of Cardano, and I keep wondering if Cardano is just waiting in the wings for a timing issue. That is going to be a very interesting play here. Start plugging that together. We need to do an ADA update for you guys for sure. This is another story, Investor Place. Ethereum's dominance is under mounting scrutiny, and it's obviously eroding because of its issue with gas fees. We continue to see that as a problem. We do have one thing, though, is going for Ethereum, and that is the fact that their overall ecosystem still dwarfs Solana. Solana is by scale is just not there, but moving very fast. And if you think about how and what we'll see in the NFT marketplace, play to earn, DeFi in 2022, this is a very critical year for Solana and others in terms of market uptake and also product market fit as we start to see that scalability happen. So there's a big opportunity here for what they're going to do. I want to jump to 2 charts. We're going to take a look at both the Ethereum chart and then also the Solana chart. And just to go back over time here on Ethereum, we'll kind of bust down in here, let that paint out. This was the last couple of times we pulled data on Ethereum. This was December 23rd, right before Christmas. It was, sentiment was still stable, 71 to 73 from a mid-December date. The amplification was the thing that worried me the most right here. It still did not get a lot of amplification, which means flat, and you can kind of see that happening right here. Then we had the dip right here, of course, on January 5th that we saw this week, or this last week. And then down here at the bottom, we've pulled another sentiment. The problem, again, that starts to concern me a little bit is sentiment and amplification are starting to separate, meaning amplification, people I think are gassing on Ethereum, no pun intended. And I think we're going to continue to see a little bit of flatness before we see some uptrend to where we could see by late January around a $3,200 ETH. Right now we're trading at 32, so it's really about a wash for where we are currently on ETH. I don't see a lot of movement in January for Ethereum. Now, if you look at Solana, little different story in terms of their amplification. They actually have a flip going on right now that is 72.91. This was pulled right here on January 10th. And their amplification is at 73.02. And that's one that we always watch, is when we see an amplification starting to overperform. Now, some of this could be because of the news of Phantom Wallet. Some of it could be the case of partnerships, different project advancements, and also I think the issue of gas fees and ETH and some of the other projects that are taking the wind out of Ethereum and then looking for a home, and Solana being a potential. Solana trading in at 146, which I've often said anything around the 140 mark is an excellent buy. If you were able to grab Solana right here at the bottom, which was around $130, what a great opportunity you had to do and get in on this project, I think, early. So long term, it's going to be, I think, really a toss-up for ETH and Solana, but I do think between ETH, Solana, AVAX, we'll see if Cardano plays into that game. But ETH, Solana, and AVAX are very interesting to me right now when you look at those alphas that are trading in the cryptocurrency market. In my opinion, you got to be in all three, and you have to be looking at current projects, partnerships, and continued issues around NFTs, making sure you're on play to earn projects that are moving advancement. That's why Solana, I think, has a little bit of an edge over AVAX until what John and his team does to really advance the gaming ecosystem. If AVAX can go in that direction, all right, things might be looking pretty interesting. But let's not forget BNB. BNB is still an ecosystem that is in a big way much like ETH, because it's utilized as really the gas for the Binance Smart Chain and all those projects that are piling in over there. So you can't throw out all of those, but definitely is one to kind of address when you look at this overall. So I do think that Solana will see a little bit of sideways action here. We may see a little bit of a trunk right here start to form, which would take us back down under the 140 mark. If it does in fact start to dip, that may happen over the weekend. And then I think we've got a little bit of green sailing on Solana, providing that Bitcoin can continue, because I still do think all of these major alts are attached and still connected to what's happening in the overall market with Bitcoin. Again, this all is not financial advice, but it is kind of the direction I'm going. I've, of course, put some more money in Solana, and they, of course, were in our top 5 for our Q1 forecast. I think they were number 3. Make sure and check that video out if you can, because that's a good rundown of the top 25 altcoin projects with a forecast. And we went back and looked at 6 months of history as well as the current data, and then we looked at amplification performance on those projects, rescored them, and gave a forecast of where we thought things were going. So that hopefully will help you guys out. If you're listening over on the podcast right now, podcast is a big deal for us. We are getting more and more listeners, and I'm so glad about that. It's another way to spread the word and help you guys move into your whole education quest for cryptocurrency, blockchain, the technology that drives all this, because this really is going to become the evolution, which I think has already taken place. And I'm so lucky just to be part of this twice, in the sense of where the explosion of the internet began. I feel like that's where we are in Web3 right now. So if you're over there on the podcast, make sure and give us some stars. If you're on iTunes, give us just a quick comment on how you like the show. And of course, the best place is jumping over here to the YouTube channel. This is where it all happens. You'll see these charts that we just talked about. And of course, you can also jump into the Diamond Circle. Lots of things happening there. We're dropping more and more content. And we have a custom tax strategy episode that is only available in the Diamond Circle. If you're in the Diamond Circle, you're going to get a note about it. You'll be able to come in and get to that tax strategy project and product, along with some other things that are going to be strategies of how you can protect your crypto in 2022. So make sure and join up there. If you want to reach me out on Twitter, it is just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.